The tent was found first, on the slope of a mountain whose name translates in the local Mansi language to Dead Mountain. February 1959, the Northern Ural Mountains, Soviet Russia. The search party had been looking for 9 experienced hikers, all of them fit, capable, and long overdue. What the searchers found on that slope made no sense then, and parts of it are argued about to this day. The tent was buried in snow, collapsed, and empty. The hikers' boots were inside. Their warm clothing was inside. Their supplies were inside. And the tent had been cut open from the inside in long slashes, as if the people within had been in such a hurry to get out that the door was too slow. Below the tent, in the snow, footprints. 8 or 9 sets, mostly from bare feet or socks, walking, not running, in reasonable order, downhill into a forest, in temperatures around -25 degrees Celsius, at night. None of the 9 came back. This is Echoes After Dark, where the cases are real, the sources are documented, and the fear comes from the facts. Tonight, the Dyatlov Pass incident. What was actually found, what can now be explained, and the part that still keeps researchers up at night. First, who they were, because the mystery starts with their competence. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, and drawn mostly from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. 7 men, 2 women, almost all seasoned winter hikers attempting a demanding Grade 3 route through the Urals in deep winter. These were not tourists who wandered off a trail. They were among the most experienced young mountaineers in the region, properly equipped, disciplined, and documenting their trip with diaries and cameras as they went. Those diaries and photographs survived, and they matter enormously, because they give the case something most mysteries never have. A timeline written by the victims themselves, cheerful and ordinary, right up to the final evening. The last photographs show the group cutting snow into the slope of Kholat Syakhl and pitching their tent in fading light on February the 1st. Whatever happened, happened after dark. Now the findings in the order the searchers made them, because the sequence is the mystery. The tent cut open from inside, everything essential abandoned. Then about 1.5 kilometers downhill, at the tree line, the remains of a small fire under a large cedar, and the first 2 hikers, in their underwear, shoeless. Branches of the cedar were broken high up, as if someone had climbed, perhaps to look back toward the tent. Between the cedar and the tent, 3 more bodies spread out along the slope, positioned as though they had been trying to return, uphill, toward the tent they had fled. Igor Dyatlov was one of them. Those first 5 died of hypothermia. Tragic but comprehensible. People caught outside in lethal cold without clothing die of exposure. If the case ended there, it would be a sad story about a night emergency, not a 60-year mystery. The case did not end there. The final 4 were not found until May, when the snow melted, in a ravine deeper in the forest, under meters of snow, in a den of laid branches someone had built. They were better dressed than the others, wearing clothing taken from those who had already died, which tells you they survived long enough to make decisions, organize, and try to endure. And 3 of them carried injuries that changed the character of the entire case. Massive chest trauma in 2, comparable, in the official medical examiner's assessment, to the force of a car crash. A major skull fracture in another. And yet, crucially, little to no external damage matching those internal injuries. Powerful force, applied broadly, without the cuts and bruises a beating or a fall onto rocks would leave. The Soviet investigation, unable to land on a cause, closed the case in 1959, with a sentence that did more to fuel the mystery than any finding. The hikers died, it concluded, because of a compelling natural force. Case closed, files archived, area quietly restricted for a period. A compelling natural force. 60 years of speculation grew in the space those 4 words left open. Now, the honest part, which this channel will always give you. Most of this case has plausible explanations, and one recent one is strong. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened a review, And in the years since, scientists published a rigorous case using avalanche physics and computer modeling for a specific culprit, a slab avalanche. Not the Hollywood avalanche, a mountainside letting go, but a smaller, quieter, far sneakier event, where a dense plate of wind-packed snow fractures and slides a short distance, fast and heavy. Here's how it fits. The group had cut into the slope to pitch the tent, undercutting the snowpack above. Katabatic winds that night likely loaded more snow on top. Hours after they went to sleep, a slab, small but dense, could have released onto the tent. And a slab explains the strangest injury pattern in the case. Heavy, blunt, distributed force. Exactly like being compressed under a dense weight against the rigid floor of skis and gear. Capable of producing crushed chests and fractured skulls without extensive external wounds. It explains the panicked exit, cutting out of a collapsing buried tent. It explains fleeing downhill, the standard response to avalanche terrain, and doing so half-dressed, because in a burial emergency, there is no time. After that, the cold needed no help. The healthy fled, the injured were carried, the den was built, and the mountain did the rest. The modeling showed such a slab was physically possible on that slope that night. It is today the leading scientific explanation, and it deserves to be because it accounts for more of the evidence than anything else proposed. But this channel promised you the documented case, all of it. So here is what keeps the file open a crack. No avalanche debris was reported by the first searchers, who were themselves experienced, though a small slab's traces can be erased by weeks of wind and snowfall. The footprints leaving the tent were described as orderly, a walk, not a sprint, which sits oddly with avalanche panic, though shock and darkness do strange things to groups. The slope angle was gentler than classic avalanche terrain, which is precisely why the slab theory needed advanced modeling to demonstrate it all. And smaller details, from the radiation detected on 2 items of clothing, plausibly from lantern mantles or the hiker's own academic work, to why the den group, the organized group, still succumbed, admit explanations, but require them, one after another. Every strange fact has a candidate answer. It's the number of candidate answers required that keeps a low hum under this case. Here's where I'll leave you, and it's the thought this story always leaves behind. Strip away 60 years of theories, and what remains is this. 9 experienced hikers fled their tent into lethal cold. Whatever they believed was outside, leaving seemed safer than staying. Science now offers a credible explanation. A slab avalanche sent tons of snow toward the tent in darkness. And maybe that's the real chill of Dyatlov Pass. No monster or conspiracy, just wind, slope, and snow, creating decades of mystery. The mountain was already called Dead Mountain by the local Mansi people because of its lifelessness. It wasn't a warning. It just reads like one now. If this case pulled you in, watch the next documented mystery on your screen and subscribe to Echoes After Dark. Tell me, does the avalanche explanation close this case for you, or does their orderly walk downhill still bother you?